Hello, welcome to one of the first episodes of Make Your Own. We're gonna build a Game Boy Macro. We all know the Game Boy Micro. I don't have here one as an example. And we all know the Game Boy Advance, and I will show you mine. It's right in the size. We're going to build a Game Boy Micro, because what we're essentially going to do is take this Nintendo DS Fat, or first generation, how they call it, and as you can see, it's broken. The hinge is totally broken. So what we're going to do with this is make a new working Game Boy Advance out of it. Because yeah, we can replace the shell, we can replace the cord that's probably stuck, probably broken in here. Still turns on, but Flash is saying something's wrong with the top screen. Of course, there's something wrong. But I thought it would be nice to make some sort of Game Boy Advance, and we all know the Game Boy Advance SP, or people who've played it, that's very tiny for your fingers, and that the Game Boy Advance was one of the perfect handhelds to keep in your hands. Very, very nicely positioned buttons. So the idea is to get that feeling with this one, because it's around the same size, and yeah, it could be really, really nice to do. So what we need to do for this is to disassemble the whole thing. We're gonna do that in the first video. Then we're gonna solder some resistor and sound pads. Sound pads like this. They're in the top screen, but you want sound, and you don't really only want to play with your earbuds in. So we're gonna position a speaker, or maybe two, in the lower case. Then of course we're gonna get rid of the hinge, make it nice and smooth, and in the end gonna assemble everything after painting it, because we want to paint it a nice color, maybe put some nice artwork on it, who knows. That's the whole idea. So I'm gonna take you through the process of doing this. Well, let's get started then right away. Let's see if I can. Yeah, you guys can see me quite well if I stay here. First things to do is take out everything you don't need. So take out the cartridge. You don't need a cartridge. Also, maybe it's nice to tell it beforehand. It's good to have something to put your screws and stuff in. So I got me a large cup and three small ones to put in my stuff. You need a screwdriver with a 3-way screwdriver, and a Phillips head, so as they call it. I think it's a 4-way screwdriver. Spudger is nice to have, and yeah, that's basically it, what you need. So let's start straight away. Guess we don't really need the top screen to disassemble. I can take it off because it's already broken. You see here, it's broken. We will disassemble this later on to get out our speakers. So let's put this to the side, and let's start with this nice console. So it still works, but doesn't respond because you need the top screen to get it to work. If there's something wrong with your top screen, your bottom screen will flash and your top screen won't do anything, and vice versa. something I learned. And we need to get around that. So that's for our next part. When we need to solder a resistor, it's like faking and let the machine think you have a top screen. So I forgot I have a stylus in here. So behind this plate is the battery. We'll take the battery out, battery cover, and the battery. And now we have Philips 3-way here, there, and I think these are 3-way too, there, there, and there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. Let's unscrew it. Ooh, these are really tight. So let's take out screws, put them in, put them aside. Really tough screw. I'll take myself a smaller screwdriver here. So how I came to this idea, I saw a movie on YouTube on how to fix screens, and was looking at it, and in the side post there was someone who posted a video on how to make a Game Boy macro, or just the ultimate Game Boy Advance or anything. And well, I got interested, saw it, and I had one lying around, so thought, why not? So I read something about it. And thought, yeah, well, maybe share it with you guys. So, last screw, they're really tight. And screwed another device very recently. And the screws were very loose, and then I realized that somebody already opened the case for me. So mostly when they're very stuck, it's probably for the best. This is the last one, I guess. The last one. So, sorry about that guys, camera fell down. So I took off the cover. Let's put that aside. And here we got the inside of the lower part. This is your card reader. This is the Game Boy Advance reader, thing we need most. A little hinge to the cable is here. This is for sound, I guess. Not quite sure. And here is the ribbon cable for the bottom screen. So we're gonna loosen that up. So we got a little black hinge here. You can usually just go on under it with your finger and then clip it up. You can stand it straight up, and then you can pull the ribbon cable out. It's really, really tight, so this has never been opened before. It's quite nice. So underneath you get 2 ribbon cables. This one I'm not quite sure what it is. This one is from for the touchscreen, and you have two little black pinpoints here, and you have to push them away from the white block. They're attached to each other, but it loosens the cable, so then you can pull the cable out. You can do it over here again. So they usually go to the white line that's here. It's also, if you put the ribbon cable in, you've got this dark black piece, and this the line where it goes over into the lighter piece should be aligned with the white line that's on your green plate. So at first I didn't know that, so it's really a trial and error for me, because nobody told me in the videos that I should do that. But that's very important, otherwise your screen will just flash, it won't work. So these cables are loose now. This one is just, you can just pull it up, just like a little button. And this is also a black hinge. And here it's a bit tricky to get underneath it. You can use a screwdriver or your spudger. Try to get underneath it. It doesn't really matter in this case because, you know, I can turn it around. It's the broken ribbon cable here. But I want to show you how to do this because I thought it was very useful. So when you got that loose, then you have 1, 2, 3 screws, just 4-way screws to unscrew. So as you can see, the outer case has black screws and the inner case has silver screws. So if you put them in the same place aside, then you would still know which would belong where. So, and now for the somewhat tricky part, when you take out your motherboard, because this is the motherboard, then the triggers can come loose, and the triggers have a little mechanism. I'm not quite sure what it's called in Dutch. It's veer. Het zijn de veren. But you need to keep the triggers with you all the time, towards you. Keep them stuck. Otherwise, they will. All the bits will fly around. Oh wait! Before I do that, almost forgot. There's another screw. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Screw, yeah! Oh, here. The L button is already coming off. You see, it's this little part. It jumps straight away if you take them out and don't hold them. So here it is. So this is the other side of the motherboard. Your power switch, your buttons. And for the next step, we're gonna solder a little part to these 2 little tiny pieces next to the start button, and to the other side to the speaker places. But that's for next time. So we'll put this aside because we don't need it for today anymore. We're gonna take the things a little further apart, because in the end we want to give it a solid spray paint. So this is your D-pad, the little cushions holding it together. This is your screen. Let's see if I can get it off. It's pretty easy. If you push it from underneath, it just it gets up. And before you can take it off, the ribbon cable going to the top is attached to the top part, to the spongy stuff of the lower screen. So this is a part of your ribbon cable. Goes through here. It's quite easy to get it loose. It's you get a feel to it. So this is your lower LCD with your touchscreen. You see here's the touchscreen part. I think this is the light, the LED strip. So you take that, put it aside, and then you got your lower case with all the little buttons. So your A, B, X and Y, start, select, power button. And this is your missing one. Your light button. So the LED is behind this, and I can show you the LED behind this is really tiny. So here's the LED, that little thingy there, and this is going over it, and because it's going over it, you can see the LED, because it's like a magnifier for the LED. It just absorbs the light. So that's your screen. Your top half cables, we don't need those cables anymore. So what you want to do with the case is you want to get rid of these ugly bits, and I can show you what it will look like if you get it all cleaned up. It's not perfectly this one, but it's better you get it all off. Hope you can see it like this. Let me check. Pretty nice. So that's what you're gonna do. For this thing, it's easy, just unscrew. The rest you can do with a file or with a lot of patience and sanding. And we're gonna fill it with some filler. So that's the part you need, but not for now. Now we want the speakers. So we've got this one, your top screen, and below these four little cushions are the speakers, the screws to get to the top screen. And the thing I forgot to tell you that you need is a little X-Acto knife. So this is the tricky part. If you want to do this and have the top screen intact, you have to get underneath the cushion without damaging the shell. So you should... So camera was off for a sec. So what I did was take the cushions out, already unscrewed two. Let's continue. Getting the other screws out. And what you need to do now is get in between here with your finger or your spudger. Start moving around a little bit. You hear a clicking sound. Oh, this case is bad. It's a little broken, this case. Probably fell. Some pieces are broken. So the clicking sound is because the screen is attached to the other part with these little easy pitty hook-like thingies. Some of those fell off. I noticed that I was working on another one because I made one before, or tried to make one before. That decays due to time. You see it gets very easily. It's very easily broken. It's like the material is like getting spongier or something like that. It's like really weird. So with this case it's the same, and I noticed it with the lower part, and I hope that because in the end it will happen that when you put the screw back in, that the part where the screw should fit, that it breaks. But I hope it's sturdy enough to withstand that. So what we have here is the top part. The only thing nice for keeping maybe is the Nintendo logo. For another project, who knows. And the top part is very good for sanding and testing the color you would like. So that will come in handy for that. Let's put it aside for now, and let's look at the top screen. So when you have the top screen, you get the screen, of course, and you have two speakers, and here is the ribbon cable that connects the top screen with the lower screen and the motherboard. So we have to unscrew these two to get everything out. This is a different screw. It doesn't really matter for now because you don't use this anymore, but this is a tiny screw and it's more like a yellowish one. So yeah, you can put it in the same bucket. So that's unscrewed. What you get here is your main thread to connect the speakers, and I think it's the lifeline of everything, your earth line. I'm not quite sure how you call it in English, but it doesn't really matter. What you have here is your speaker. Let's take it out. Your speaker has two little speaker buds and little points. You can flip them over for a sec, and it reacts on these two little plates, which are connected with the black and the red thread of this side, which also has the same principle. And these two bring the sound, give you the sound. So connected to each other. And let's turn it around. What we're gonna do is solder these threads straightly to these points, pin points, and in that case we can solder them straight to the motherboard, so you don't have to use this construction anymore. So here you have another two of these hinges, black hinges. You can just clip them open, get your ribbon cable out, and the cable for the top screen, and underneath there is another one of these little black pins you have to get loose very gently and then tug out. The LED cable, is that what it is? So you can put these aside, take out the speaker, and now gently lift the screen. That's not so gently, but this case is already, it's a damaged case, you know. it goes so easy. I think it fell down or something, or it's really just that the plastic is really just breaking into little pieces. Usually that just does not happen. So you take out the top LCD screen. So probably the screen will work if you put on a good ribbon cable. But this cable is damaged, so we cannot use it anymore. And unless you have a new cable, you can try that out. New cable, new case. Otherwise, you can just put it aside for another project, or maybe if one day you feel like let's build a new one, you can do that. So this is really just breaking apart. This is your top screen. Also, you don't really need that anymore. This is rubbish. Let's throw that away. So what we need is this. Your lower part, your lower top and bottom part. That's your casing. The motherboard with a screen. The lower screen. Don't really need the touch screen, but if it works, then just leave it on there, because maybe one day you want to change it, or have a broken top screen on another DS you wanna change, and then you can just exchange it with this one. So this is basically it. This is what you need, and you need your speaker or speakers. You can build in too, and then there's one tiny thing you need for the next step. And that's this little piece. This piece, put it over here. That is your resistor. It's 330 ohm. That's the resistor you need to make sure that the screen works without a top screen. So we're gonna do that next time. We're gonna solder that with my awesome solder skills. I'm not very good at it, but you know, it works. And I'll show you how it looks, how it should look like, and if it works. So these are the components you need, and it's also very nice just to have a battery to test the system if it works. And I'll give you a quick review. Let's put the resistor away, because seriously, don't want to lose that one. Quick test. Put the battery in the lower case, and here's the little LED that should light up. This is the power button, and you see it lights up just for a sec. That's how you know that it works. And if I would attach the screen, it would flash again. The screen would flash again. And if I have the resistor here and I have the screen on, then the screen would just start displaying the bottom half of the Nintendo DS. And that's basically what we want. But that's for next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time building this Game Boy macro on Make Your Own. Bye bye.